being ready. Isn't that pretty much what we all strive for? In other words, when it hits the fan, don't we want to be ready at that point in time? We don't want to wish we were ready. We want to be prepared. We can't prepare for every potential scenario out there, but we can prepare for most. And a lot of times you can at least be outfitted with the proper tools to be able to handle most situations. Now, as you and I both know, it's not always practical to carry a full or even a subcompact pistol on your person, depending on what you are wearing or where you are going. There are some pretty cool pocket guns out there, and we're going to do a full segment on pocket guns, but today I want to talk about one specific one, a very new one by Trailblazer. Trailblazer Firearms is a brand new company that, at least as far as I'm concerned, I'd never heard of these guys before, and they've designed a pretty cool little gun. This is called the Life Card. They call it the card obviously because it looks just like, being the size rather, of a credit card. Obviously the thickness it's not, but this is a pretty neat little unit right here. What we're going to do today is we're going to take you through what we know about this pistol and what we do or don't like about it, and see if it is practical enough for you to carry in the event you really have to carry something small and extreme compact, not just subcompact. This is a Life Card 22 LR by Trailblazer. It's a foldable single shot 22 long rifle pistol. It's as wide and as tall as a credit card and about 1/2 inch thick or a little bit less. Comes in weighing at about 7 ounces. Nothing to snag, that's what I like about it. You're not gonna find anything when this thing is closed up to snag on the inside pocket, your clothing, shirt, anything of that nature when you might be retrieving this pistol from your pocket. 4140 steel barrel, bolt and trigger, aluminum frame and handle. It has corrosion resistant isonite steel, hard coat anodized on the actual finish. This is nice because you know you're gonna have your hands in your pocket, and that oil from your skin is gonna make any other gun want to corrode pretty quickly. Now, don't get any ideas of a tactical reload, of course, but the Life Card 22 LR does have room in the handle for 4 additional rounds for you to carry. One thing I've noticed about this particular Life Card is that there are 6 sides to it, obviously. There's only one side of it. One side that even generally closely resembles a firearm simply because it has the barrel on it. None of these other sides have any kind of indication that it is in fact a pistol. Now, to shoot the Life Card, you engage this lever right here on the slide. You simply pull it back and the barrel raises upward, and you put your 22 long rifle single shot right in here. Now, to close it, you still have to engage the lever. This thing will not just slide back into place. You have to release the lever in order to let this barrel slide down where it needs to go. Then you grab the bolt, or if you want to call it the hammer, bring it backwards, and you are ready to fire now. After this, there is no safety. You simply pull the trigger and the gun itself will go bang. Okay guys, I've got a round that I'm about to chamber into my Life Card, and I've got a target here at 7 yards. As I say in a lot of my videos, you better have a good attorney if you're shooting a self-defense pistol at 30 or 40 yards. So I don't see the need to try to impress you with a 50-yard shot with a 22 long rifle in this pistol. This pistol does not have actual iron sights either. It's got a groove on top. This is a point and shoot gun. This is a true self-defense gun. You're not going to be shooting IPSC or USPSA or a 3-gun with this pistol. Okay, again, you see I've got my 22 long rifle. We go in, and remember, we'll pull this lever back, and that drops the actual, if you want to call it your chamber, your barrel into place. Okay, we're ready to go now. What we're going to do is we'll charge it now. This thing is in an unsafe mode at this point, so it is ready to go. When I pull this trigger, it's going to go bang. Let's see what we do. I'm going to try to shoot for the center of that A zone, and this actually, oddly enough, feels natural. The angle of everything feels normal to me. Let's see here. Okay, we are in the A zone. We're at 7 yards here. Let's take a look at this. All right, at 7 yards, this is where I'm shooting. This is my A zone. You can see the perforation here on my A zone. I'm just high left in the A zone. Let's shoot 4 or 5 more. Okay guys, I got 4 more bullets. Get my spent casing out, and we will go to town with the new ammo. See if we can't keep this thing in the A zone there. All right, charge my hammer, and here we go, A zone. Oh, I'm out of the A zone. Notice and see if I jerk the trigger or move anything. I mean, it's grouping pretty consistent. I do think that that just happens to be where the Life Card shoots. Let's see if this fifth and final round does the same thing. Again, I'm not adjusting my shot. I'm shooting for the center of the A zone. Okay, I had a misfire. I don't know what the deal was there. And I do, okay, not cool. I've got a primer strike. I don't want to turn it because then I will not be facing down range. Let me turn the camera here. You guys can see that. I have somewhat, and this is going to be hard for me to see. If you can see, I've got a primer strike there. See at the very bottom of it? That's where the hammer hit, if you can see that. So it's potentially an ammo issue. I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to grab a fresh one, and I'm going to give it just a second to be on the safe side to make sure I don't have something that's going to fire on me again as I walk off and try to start digging this thing out of here. Again, as I've said multiple times, I am no pro. I am not the greatest shooter in the entire world, but I am somewhat consistent. When I screw up, it's usually a screw up that's consistent. I'm aiming with this pistol right here on the center of the A zone, and as you can see, my group is pretty consistent up here. My first shot was here, second shot here, third shot was one of these, fourth, and then another 5 right up here. So I've got 2 shots that share the same hole, and then I've got these 3 down here. So I mean, I've got a 2-inch grouping at 7 yards with this little bitty thing. I will take that. Again, we're using an IPSC target for the simple fact that we're showing the size of a human torso. Okay, y'all, I think I'm probably not going to impress you guys here. This looks pretty long for the type of shots that I was not doing very well a second ago. 20 yards here. Let me see if I can just get it in the paint using this slot on the top of the barrel. I think the hammer is not coming back. It's not hitting properly. I've got another primer strike. Not sure if this is going to be ammo related this time. I mean, it possibly is. As you guys see, you can see my primer strike again. It does have a definite primer strike. I'm going to hold on to this one and compare it to one that fired with a proper primer strike. See if this thing is shot again. It's possible. I don't know. I mean, I'm charging it all the way. I don't know what else it could be. So I'm not, it's possible now, looking at where my thumb is located, it's possible. I'll show you here in a second. Yep, I think that's what it is. Let me tuck my thumb down below. Yeah, I think I see what I'm doing. Let me dump this this shell here. I'm gonna show you what I think I'm doing. I think it's an operator error, guys. I'll try to show you up close here. Pretty sure what I'm doing here. Try to get this camera where I can look at it good. I'm not being too successful. I think what I'm doing, again, you can see the thing is not loaded. Pretty sure what I'm doing is that whenever I cock this thing, is I'm getting in I guess kind of like a 1911 mode where I'm used to holding my shooting thumb, pointing it forward where right on top of my support thumb. Well, as you can see where my thumb is going, either I'm riding the hammer going forward, or I'm surprised I haven't pinched myself in here, or I'm slowing it down to where it's not getting a proper primer strike. So that's probably what's happening. So I'm gonna make sure I don't do that this time. Just like I did this last time. And again, I'm pretty sure that's what's happening here. Man, a lot of times it is operator error. I mean, I hate to say it. A lot of people blame the guns and the ammo. In most cases, it's you, it's me. You know, we're the ones making the mistakes here. So I'm gonna make a conscious effort to stay away from that hammer. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Lifeguard, Trailblazer guys, you may want to put something in there for idiots like me. Say don't ride the hammer. Move your thumb clear of it just to be safe, because again, looking like that was my issue. I call it like I see it, even if I'm the one screwing it up. All right, fellas, I see most of my shots. Let's see, my earlier shots were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have a stray somewhere. My guess is, looking at where I'm grouping everything, my stray shot flew somewhere out here. Okay guys, you can see the bullet on the right is the one that I got a very light primer strike and it did not fire. And the shell casing on the left is one that did fire with the proper primer striking. You can see a little bit, this one here is a little bit less defined, at least especially further closer to the edge. This edge right here is definitely not as defined as the edge right here where it caught the rim. So from a rimfire standpoint, you're definitely getting, this is where this thing needs to fire, where that hammer is hitting it, and I just didn't get enough hammer fire right here. Clearly my thumb is what slowed that thing down, so I'm not going to do that again. I want to show you how fast I could deploy this thing if I needed to. I do have a round, a live round in it. Again, remember, my hammer's not back, so I'm safe. I'm not cocked. I'm going to close this thing up and just get kind of a general idea of how quickly I could deploy this if I needed to. Let's say I have it in my back pocket. Now remember, I'm going to put this thing in a position to where when I reach into it, I'm grabbing basically the handle like this. I don't want to carry it upside down, sideways, or anything like that. This is my handle. So I'm going to put this thing in my pocket the way I want it to be deployed in the event that I need it. So once I get out of my pocket, it's just a matter of doing this. I'm going to see if I can do this without screwing this up or making a fool out of myself. I have two ranges of motion. I'm pulling down, cocking up. Now after I deploy it, what I'm going to do is I have two ranges of motion. I'm going to see if I can not screw this up. I'm going to pull this down, which is going to raise my slide portion, and then I'm going to cock it. So I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can without shooting myself, of course. Not bad. I mean, you can get it out pretty quick. Obviously that's after a little bit of practice. That was not the first time that I shot it. But once you get your orientation right on it, you're going to get familiar enough with it where the controls loosen up a little bit. The gun starts to move a little bit more fluid. It is a little bit stiff when you first get it, but very, very cool. I'd be okay with that. Again, probably the key to that is making sure this thing goes in your pocket in the right position so that you're not pulling it out and doing this before you deploy it. One thing I did notice as I was shooting was this door right here on the handle. My guess is it had some kind of a detent right there, because if you notice there's a notch right there for like a detent to go into, and there's a hole right there. If you notice, as I was shooting a couple times, I noticed this thing was sliding down in my hand, and I thought maybe my pinky finger or my ring finger was just pulling it off as I was holding it and shooting it, that maybe I was just sliding it down like that inadvertently. That is not the case. Again, apparently it looks like to be a spring down in there, and apparently there's supposed to be a detent, and that detent is supposed to hold this door shut. So I actually, without that detent, will not be able to carry 4 rounds in this handle. As you see, this thing slides open and forward pretty easily, and it does not lock shut. It just falls right off. I got to tell you, the detent issue, not a big deal for me as far as that door holding open, as far as me being able to put some rounds in the handle. Again, not a huge deal for me. This is more than likely going to be a one-shot deal for me. So I don't see that being a deal breaker for me as far as this pistol goes. It's got to be an easy fix. Nothing is broken. It's just something needs to be fit in there to be able to hold that door closed. I like this thing. I like the fact that I can throw on some gym shorts, some jogging pants, throw this thing in my pocket. Nobody gets freaked out because of the squareness of it. It's very concealable, very hard to tell what it is, if you will. I like the fact that you feel like you're returning home whenever it's in the palm of your hand. In other words, your faculties that you're used to, all of your fine motor skills that go into play whenever you're not thinking about shooting a pistol, all those things return to normal. Even though the gun feels odd, even though the fact that whenever you open it up, even though the fact that when you cock it, everything feels different. Once you do this and you get in the ready position, everything goes back to normal. The grip angle, everything feels natural. Again, guys, it's Trailblazer Firearms. The name of the pistol is the Lifeguard 22 LR. I'm wondering, since they named this one the 22 LR, if they aren't going to come up with some other calibers, probably a 380, I would guess they're probably going to try. Anyway, I like innovation. I'm always a big fan of gun companies and manufacturers that think outside the box. Everybody and their brother has made an AR-15 out there. I'd like to see somebody come up with something else. You can make a better mousetrap sometime, and if it's not better, you can make at least a different mousetrap. And people like me, we're suckers for it and we'll buy it anyway. You guys have fun. Shoot safe, be safe, and have a good time at the range. Hey, take a kid out to the range, teach them some gun safety. Take an older person out to the range. Somebody that's probably not going to go on their own, take them out to the range. Invite them. When you go out to the range, call your dad, call your mom, call your father-in-law, your mother-in-law. Bring them out to the range. They may miss that, just may not be comfortable going out on their own. And again, by all means, let's teach our children a little bit of gun safety and introduce them to gun sports.